TIFU by innocently giving away worn underwear. This happened in the early 2000s when I was about 17. I come from a very small and rather poor town where it was nothing out of the usual to give away your used clothing to family and neighbors. For children, this also extended to socks and underwear. I remember that I always got my cousin's underpants when she outgrew them until I was at least 12. So when I was older, I went to sell my used clothing on a flea market and took some bras and, obviously, perfectly clean panties I grew out of to put in a free-to-take box under the table. Due to my age and upbringing, I had absolutely no clue that panty sniffing was a thing. An elder gentleman approached the table and asked me about the panties. I very eagerly told him that yes, I wore them myself and my age. And so on. In my innocent mind, I thought he wanted them for his grandchildren and was asking about my age to measure the sizing. He then proceeded to actually sniff them, which I took as a measure of cleanliness. He asked if he could take all of them and went off with the whole box. Even though I found him very weird and didn't like the interaction with him, I was very proud of myself and happy that I did such a good deed. It took years for me to realize that I supplied a pervy older guy with a huge supply of worn adolescent panties. TLDR. I gave a whole box of clean, but worn underwear to a guy without realizing what he'd probably do with it, since I had no idea about panty sniffing. The audacity of that guy to sniff right in front of you. It's like taking a screenshot. The scent locks the image into the spank bank. Yes, officer. This one, right here. I'm sure he's on some registry or watch list. The only foo is that you gave it away. I bet he would have paid a lot of money for those. That old perv must have felt like a lottery winner that day. I am picturing the scene with the rose petals in American Beauty, but it's just this old dude waterfalling panties on himself. Why the fuck did you just create this mental image for us? I mean, if you're not picturing him naked with a dark purple velveteen scrunchy double wrapped around his balls and a pair of yellow panties with pink flowers in his mouth, then you're not picturing him right. We need to make sure we're all picturing the same thing. Otherwise, we'll have to start all over. Are you picturing the rope of panties chained together like clowns' handkerchiefs, the red pair on the end just peeking out his ass? And GT. He then proceeded to actually sniff them, which I took as a measure of cleanliness. Oh, op. Sweet, sweet summer child. And GT. Due to my age and upbringing, I had absolutely no clue that panty sniffing was a thing. I read the warning and still wasn't prepared. Bless you, op. Could have made a shockingly large amount of money for that. Had a friend that sold a couple pairs of her volleyball shorts to some rondo for like $1,000. A lesson to you girls. Save all your panties and sell when you turn 18. Don't wait, and once you got money in hand, call in the cops. Double win. Out of simply curiosity, is it illegal to buy underwear from someone underage? I can't think of any specific law outlawing it, but it probably is illegal under the general "don't sexualize children" laws. That's not a general law, otherwise child beauty pageants would be illegal. I think if it was actually children's underwear, this story would not be funny in the least. But I was a sturdy, very mature-looking teenager that gave away her boxer briefs, so I think it was just creepy, but not in a criminal sense. It's not weird to offer up used underwear to strangers? Sometimes reading this stuff on Reddit makes me feel like I'm the weird one for thinking it's weird. What's weird about it? People give away shirts, and pants, and socks all the time. I donate mine to a local homeless shelter. How is it any different? When I donate underwear, or used garter belts, or my leather gimp suit, or my ball gag, or my two-headed. My point is, it's all in like new condition and something recycling. Something save our planet. Got any used undies? Wow. Dude, that is so inappropriate. DM me later. So a local thrift store has used children's clothing like socks and underwear and stuff. And I kid you not, the room is locked with an "ask staff to unlock room" sign. I was bewildered until I made the connection. There has certainly been an incident, and not someone stealing clothing for their kids to wear. at some point. And that is why the sign is there. OMG, that's so gross to think about. What predators? With a name like that? Nonsense, you could never be the odd one out. I was always taught that it was very important to donate my outgrown or unwanted clothes, but that I should never donate or accept used underwear. I assumed everyone did it that way. I was very poor as a teenager, and received a lot of donated clothes, but there was never underwear included. Nobody wants to get booty cooties. I'm a guy. This happened in my mid-20s. This old creep, probably in his 80s, grabbed my arm surprisingly hard while I was volunteering at the rec center for a seniors sports day. Certainly wasn't expecting him to suddenly grab me. Dude wasn't even part of the event I was helping with. He pulled me hard towards him and asked so. Only I could hear if I was a good Boy Scout. I sort of laughed and said I was never in the Scouts. Figured this guy maybe was an old boy Scout leader or something. Maybe struggled to regulate his grip or balance, hence the hard arm grab. Couldn't hear or talk well, hence pulling me closer. Internal alarm bells started going off when I tried to pull back. Fucker gripped harder and pulled again, saying, I could make you a good Boy Scout. Gave me dead-ass sexual up, down look like. He was checking me out and said, yeah, a real good Boy Scout. Then he started walking and tried to pull me along and lead me away. I didn't move. I was getting mad and pretty keyed up at this point. Quickly getting over the sort of surreal, is this legit happening or am I misreading this, type of internal calculation. I gave a look like, are you serious? Let go now, I'm going to fucking kill you, old man. Lol. I wasn't trying to be nice anymore. I was seriously about to beat that old shit unconscious. He flashed a look like he was furious, then let go and walked off. Even though I wasn't in any danger. Hell, a hard enough shove would have probably broke his hip. But afterwards it made me wonder if that old bastard ever hurt kids like a Boy Scout, or other young men. In the past when he actually could have physically overpowered them. That man has done some very bad things. The perv equivalent of finding a complete Lego Star Destroyer on Marketplace for $10. Did he not pay for them? Because he definitely would have. He certainly made a deposit later. Sell them next time. SMH. GIF, Giphy. N2A Zuanrm JCXK. Old man when he gets home. An amp. #X200B. GIF. Giphy. 06 NWHMIJFXJ149 WVHF. The idea of giving away underwear at all is weird to me. There is no amount of washing anyone can do that would make me feel comfortable wearing someone else's boxers secondhand. Is this like a thing in some places? It used to be in my case. I remember the flea markets we went to as a kid where it was totally normal to buy used underwear for your children. If they were in good condition. I know it's really disgusting, but as kids we often changed clothes and even underwear after PE because we thought it was funny. In my family and many others it was completely normal to have one underwear drawer for all the siblings that were a similar size. I never thought anything about it until I grew up and realized this must have been a very German countryside in the 90s thing to have, and that people have other interest in worn underwear. And GT. No, it's really disgusting, but as kids we often changed clothes and even underwear after PE. Man, of everything in this thread, this is the quote that literally made me queasy. Thanks for the reminder to explicitly tell my kids not to trade underwear once they start having to change clothes for gym. If you grew up poor, this is what you do, as simple as that. Be glad you're privileged enough to not to have to be raised like this. It was any underwear, or no underwear in many cases. Same went for socks. I remember how much I admired the kids that had the underwear with the weekdays on it. I only recently realized how sad that actually is. Exactly. It was pretty much the same in my family town, except for several rich families. I was also pretty late realized how hard my parents worked, so we were never hungry. Made a pretty grim realization. Anyway, on the lighter note, as creepy as it was, If you tell this story on the party in the way you told it to us, you can easily make a whole room roll with laughter. Nice party trick. Not only would he have paid for them, he would probably pay a lot more if they weren't washed that recently. Nowadays there are portals on the internet for that sort of stuff. TIFU creative writing really hitting well today. This is pretty believable. Well, smelling them in front of her is some chutzpah, but people are fucking weird and I guess the experience was worth whatever reputational risk it incurred. There is nothing far-fetched about this story. I've had those moments, even as a dude. Like 20 years later, like, holy crap, Mr. G was a perv. Yes. I have had countless, how the fuck did I make it out of there unharmed, moments in the last years. This is one of the very harmless stories, tears of joy.